Dimp Digital presents Idle Game Chat.
Cool.
Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat. This is our flagship video game podcast where we take you through the up and downs of the wonderful world of video games. We are here on your favourite podcast app and YouTube, absolutely free. But if you want to support our independent endeavour, head over to patreon.com/Dimp Digital and join the community. Hashtag and in pocket. This week, I am once again joined by the disgraced and dishonest Dimp Digital gaming quiz charlatan. It's Cheat, Tom Adkins, not Adcock. How's it going?
How long have I got to have that intro for?
All year until
is
until,
it?
until you don't get caught
Until
cheating
the next
again.
gaming quiz.
Yeah. Well, if you get caught cheating again, then
Video
absolutely
evidence.
not.
Video. We've got to do a video one this year.
Got to do something because there's.
Oh, you can still cheat though. I could have my phone under it and just go. Ooh.
Yes, very, very true. It's a difficult one. It's just there's ways of.
Just COVID's finished now. It's all gone and dusted with. So we could all get together in one big room.
I don't want to leave the house.
Yeah, we'll come around yours in that room.
No.
All of it.
Christ, that would be a sweatbox.
On a day like today, cool. You'll see the fucking sweat pouring out of our heads.
Yeah, I've put out on for it because my hair all just collapsed on itself when I got too hot. Lasted till about 4 o'clock, and then I saw it. And it was all
nah.
It went, I'm not having this. It
Looked like Rafe at the end of Uncharted 4.
Yeah. Looked like fucking Guile when his new haircut was all falling over the sides. I was like, what's going on here? So I need to stop that. But
got no fans.
Yeah, he's got. I've turned mine off because I was worried it was going to appear on the sound. Because I think when I put the Xbox fridge up for the showcase sort of recaps, I felt like I could hear it when I listened back a little bit. But
Oh really?
I don't know.
I can't hear nothing now.
No, well, it's off, so it's
that'd
be why. But yours on the floor and lovely job. I'll be all right for a little while. Just sweat out. But yes, we're here to take you through some of the gaming news and perhaps share an opinion or two on some video games for this week.
We played games. Unbelievable.
We did play a game, we did. I need to kick things off, though, with a little bit of a celebration because last week's episode of Idle Game Chat, that was episode 102, I believe. That actually, and this is the first time this has ever happened in our long, illustrious career and history here at Dimp Digital. Kind of like, how many bloody...
Is it 2014 did you start?
2014, yeah. And we've probably done 200 plus podcasts. At least 200, but probably more, actually. Close to 250. But yeah, our video game showcase is too bloated. Episode 102, for the first time ever, charted in the Apple Podcasts Great Britain video game category. So
there you go.
Went in at a lovely 169. So it wasn't towards
What's the bottom?
250.
Oh, that's decent. Respectable.
Not terrible, really, considering what's going on with this operation. So we will forever
foot in the door.
Well, we'll see when we'll never chart again. I'm almost certain of it. But the stars aligned for that one. It's a good celebration for us. Look, we don't get a lot of traction, so to get that as a one-off is great. Funnily enough, we actually chart unbelievably in the video games section for Japan almost every single week.
That's all of our call-outs to Hideo.
Well, it might be. Maybe it is that old Kojima son getting involved. But
they know
we have that. It charts every week, almost certainly. It goes up and down, but that's peaked at 14.
Oh, quitting my job now.
Well, that's the thing. It seems almost ridiculous that this isn't getting monetized as much as it should. So it feels like we're squandering this momentum, and then that'll be it. Back to the grind. But yeah, just wanted to shout out for that. Very happy with that, and thanks to everyone that does tune in and listen on whatever device or watch if you're on the YouTube side. I've been told that if you leave a review on Apple or iTunes, even if you don't listen to it on there, it'll help the algorithm. So
Just write core.
well, yeah, and then we'll know it's come from this episode. I mean, what I should do first is make all the Dimp guys do it first. Like,
that's good too,
get us to review ourselves 5 out of 5 stars. Get it off, kick it off early, and kick it off to a good score, and then get the public involved. But if you want to go and do that, then I'm not going to stop you. Just don't give 0 stars. Come on, trying to get out of this.
Trying to run a business.
Trying
to
avoid.
feed the masses, aren't we? With our knowledge.
Well, that's what people are after. Fantasy Game League update. I haven't done this for a while because nothing's really been releasing. But we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge coming out. Biff had that in his Grand Prix team. Sitting on an 87 as we record this. So that is a stellar score for that young man. So he's going to be very happy with that. And June means it's transfer month. So I haven't been doing the transfers. So I thought I'd quickly reel off what's been happening. We've had Biff transferring out Lord of the Rings Gollum for the Callisto Protocol. Now, what he's done there is taken out a game that's got a release date in September for one that's in December. I mean, that's risky business. That's real risky business.
I mean, I do think Callisto, well, I hope Callisto will score higher than Gollum, but that is very risque.
Is it even going to come out this year? That's my problem with that particular transfer.
You'd think being that late... I mean, we only got our first look at gameplay last week, so and it looked ropey as fuck, technically.
Yeah, it didn't look good at all. You've been busy, Mr. Adkins. You've subbed out Suicide Squad in for The Last of Us Part 1, a very shrewd transfer. That's, I mean, don't count your chickens ever in this business, but that's if you're a betting man, you'd bet that to score pretty high.
That comes out like fucking, what's it called? GTA.
Oh, that's
real big.
That's always possible. Hall has got rid of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake. That game seems like it's forever stuck cursed into development hell. And he's got Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which is out very, very soon. It might even be next week, actually. So might have an update on the score for that. He also got rid of Kerbal Space Program, which was also officially delayed into next year. And he got Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So he's jumping on the Pokemon bandwagon. Salmon makes his first foray into the transfer market. Breath of the Wild's out, or the sequel to Breath of the Wild. That's been confirmed as a delay. And he's got a Plague Tale Requiem coming in, which hasn't been dated yet, but many people speculating that it's due this year. Adkins at it again. Diablo 4 binned, again, 2023 jobby. But he's swapped it in for another Blizzard property in Overwatch 2, which will be going free to play later this year. And finally, Salmon got rid of Stalker 2. That's officially into 2023 now. And he's got in Grounded, which is going to hit 1.0 in a few weeks. So that's the sort of housekeeping.
I think they should get a page, I suppose. They wouldn't review the early access, would they?
I did check, and it didn't have a page then. So I would imagine once 1.0 hits, then scores will be assigned. Never know. You never know. There are a few games out there that don't always hit that, but we will see. We had a Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary stream from Square Enix, and they unleashed the news that many were hoping for. It's official. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the second part of this remake series, scheduled... Go on.
Loads of people were thinking it wasn't going to be a trilogy. Did you think it would be more, or I was always under the illusion that it was definitely going to be a trilogy?
Yeah, I was
like, oh my god, it's a trilogy.
It felt like that was just because everyone was saying that. I was like, yeah, all right, I'll just agree with you. Yeah. But it weren't going to be done in 2 plate pieces. That's what I thought. It was going to be at least 3 was how I was thinking. But scheduled to release on PlayStation 5 next winter. And as you mentioned, it'll be the second entry to the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. That was confirmed. They said they're going to work on one other game for this. And according to a statement from the creative director, Mr. Nomura, he says it's been designed so that people can enjoy it, quote, whether they know the original game or not. End quote. And he also said that some development has also begun on a third title. So,
what do you reckon that's going to be called? Are they going to stick with the R?
Oh yeah,
remake, rebirth.
Yeah, it'll be
Requiem.
It might be. Yeah, well, they might steal that. But it's official. We didn't know what to expect, when we was going to hear about 2, because the ongoing joke is they're never going to get this remake series out, but on track for, a second release. How are you feeling about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
Good. A real different window. I remember the thing was about April. It was just after
Yeah.
it was like the peak of lockdown. I remember I was like, I can't be buying 2 games at once.
Yeah.
I think I bought Doom and then Animal Crossing.
Yes. Yeah.
Lockdown happened and I was like, oh fuck, I can't spend another. I don't know if I'm ever going to get any money again. So I had to avoid getting Final Fantasy, but then later was gifted it.
Yellow Boots.
Yellow Boots coming in with the goods. But yes, I'm looking forward to it. The trailer done a little sneak peek into it. It looks like they've been working on it graphically as well. It looks very tasty. I'm really excited, especially how the first game, went through and finished, obviously. So the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, lovely looking trailer. Those that have seen or played through the original, go on.
Only concern is
scared,
and it might by December 2023.
Yeah,
are we going to be like another Final Fantasy game?
Possibly. I mean, this is an interesting thing to speculate on because 16 scheduled for summer 2023, which is a mid part of the year, and winter will be either the back part of 2023 or early 2024. Got snow falling around these parts in January, for goodness sake. I mean, obviously all of these windows are provisional. We've seen many. We've seen delay after delay after delay after delay. So they could all slip back. But it's an interesting scenario. They might find themselves with 2 games within sort of 6 months of each other.
Big uns as well. I'm expecting 16 to be a beast. Remake was no 10-hour campaign, was it?
Nope. No, not indeed.
Yeah, so if you just finish in 16, I know it's not anything to do with it, but are we going to want palate cleansers and then go, cool, off we go again? But
yeah, I don't know.
It's a good thing because or could too much of a good thing be too much?
You can overindulge in these things, as always. I'm not overly concerned. I feel like that's enough time. But then again, if 16 slips and Rebirth doesn't, then they're forever getting closer to each other. But I suspect Square will be like, right, we need to kind of be fluid on the release of this because, like you said, you can't really have them dropping side by side. We can't have EA doing what they did with Titanfall and Battlefield that year, launching both alongside COD, and it was like, what are you doing? And then even this year, at the start of this year, from February through March, what a nutty time of games that just all, and then we had nothing through April until now. It's been someone else like for a bit of Sony, like, why don't we just put Forbidden West in May? Extra couple of months of polish, and that would have been all the Elden Ring talk would have been done and dusted by then. No other games out. You'd have had the whole couple of months yourself. But no, it came out a week before, and then we had all those conversations piling up. So there's something for Square Enix to manage for sure. They've got
Breath of the Wild 2 as well. That release date whenever.
Yeah.
And is it that March? Is it?
Well, I think they said spring. Yeah.
Spring, is it? Oh, so it's not actually got a month, is it? Yeah, they'd be scared of that.
Yeah. But 2023 could be really good.
I was going to say, if all stands well, it could be a absolute belter of a year. But I remember us saying that about 21.
Yeah, and 22, and 22 started well, and then everything's fallen away now. So all sort of pinning hopes on God of War to still be arriving. We'll find out about that. But yeah, this trilogy remake or remake of a trilogy version of Final Fantasy VII coming along nicely. Seems like they're committed to getting that done. Other sort of extra news: Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to Steam now. So that Epic Games exclusivity period on PC is ended. No mention of it coming to Xbox, and even on the Rebirth trailer, it specifically just had PlayStation 5. And you might say, well, they might just have a marketing thing. It's like, well, we're going to talk about Crisis Core in a second, and that clearly stated other platforms on there. So Square, if it was coming to Xbox, you'd think would put it on there, but looks like Jim locking down Rebirth, and we don't know about Remake, like how long that's going to keep going on for. Might be indefinite. So Greenblood's fuming, and then the Snitch, he bags another one.
Bags above.
So does a little cryptic tweet. It's not. He doesn't tell you exactly what it is, but heavily insinuates, and then when the information comes, you can easily tie it clean together. I've seen people dismissing it, saying, "Oh, he hasn't given away actually any information." I'm like, it's too close for it to be guesses and bollocks. Like it's far too close every time. He's not missing, so enjoy the Snitch whilst he's around, or she.
I was going to say, yeah.
You never know. Sometimes these people just disappear into the night. All day, yeah. Absolutely, get that right. But Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII coming to Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Switch. And this was originally released in 2007 on the PSP.
It was P. I thought it was Vita for some reason.
No,
P.
No, back in the day. And it serves as a prequel to Final Fantasy VII. Here's a little quote from the developers. This new version enhances the graphics to HD and updates all of the 3D models in the game. Full voiceovers and new music arrangements present in this epic tale. I don't need to hear about that. It's like, heroism, blah, 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 blah. So that's coming this winter.
Is this all platforms?
Yeah, this is the all platform one. Odd. Why? I know why they're doing it, because probably they went, "Oh, Jim, do you want this an exclusive?" And you went, "No, I'm not paying for that.
You can
have this one. You put
that
wherever."
That PSP game that didn't sell very well, no one knows about.
It is strange to have a prequel without the sort of main course coming.
Jumping on point.
Yeah, it is a good jumping on point. And we've had this sort of weirdness with Persona 5 and Strikers. That's on Switch. I think it might have even been on Xbox at the time, but it's on Switch and Persona 5's not there lurking. That's one of the weirdest ones I've ever seen, because that's a follow-up from Persona 5.
Oh, back you go.
It's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, the Snitch, I think it was in your thing, but he had the picture, didn't he? And then he had little squares, and there was like a blue, green,
That's it.
red. It's like,
blue, green, red, and a little black one for I guess Steam. I guess because that is a.
Oh, cool, yeah.
But yeah,
clever.
Any interest in this? I mean, I don't know what your plan is with Final Fantasy VII OG sort of stuff. Whether to partake or try and go up to where it is in the remake timeline, or just do something else. But this will flesh out a hell of a lot.
Certainly, yeah. I think I will. Like, I had a PSP. I've heard of the film, the game and stuff, but at the time when it came out, I didn't really know anything about it, so I didn't get indulged. But yeah, seeing the trailer and seeing that it sort of, matches up with the Final Fantasy thing, it looks awesome. But again, when's this due?
Said winter this year.
It's this year.
Sorry, it said winter. So again, could cave over into early next year. But it comes out this year. There's not a great deal going on at present. So
no, especially Christmas time. Take that. But yeah, no, I think I'll give this a go. Definitely, I do love this this universe they're making, the MCU of Final Fantasy VII.
It's crazy, isn't it? I never really realised it extended this far, because I wasn't overly into it when it first came out. And to see all this companion stuff is like crazy. There's a film. There's probably more than one film actually. You've got Ever Crisis. You've had all sorts and all manner of Advent Children. Yeah.
Crazy.
There's a battle royale based on Final Fantasy VII. Was it First Soldier? I think it's called.
Fighting game as well.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, I can't remember what that was called. And there's loads of them. What are them things called in Japan? Them
pachinkos. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, there's loads of them. And it's I'm all down for getting, because it does look good, and like you say, it's probably the best way of doing it. I ain't busting that PSP out again.
Oh no, not at all. I did wonder whether this was going to be on the PlayStation Plus Premium sub, like not this remake or remaster or whatever they're going to frame it as, but the original one. I haven't checked.
Oh right,
because there's some PSP games on there. I didn't see it on the list, but this undoubtedly the best way to play it if you're interested in doing that. So that's coming. And then they had a little mention of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Now, do you know what this is? Because I knew what it was, and then I read up more about it, and I was like, that sounds really interesting, but there's...
Not the one where it's like the kiddie version of it.
So, Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is a single-player game that reimagines the timeline of Final Fantasy VII and the companion stuff. So it's supposed to be the adventure from start through to the end, is my understanding. However, it's a mobile game.
Oh,
So it's coming late this year to mobile devices. There's a beta coming this year, and there's like loot boxes for weapons and things like that. If you look at the trailer, it looks cool, but then you realise it's a mobile game, and I'm kind of like...
Did they do Final Fantasy 15 as a mobile game?
They've done Pocket Edition of that.
That's the one, Pocket Edition. I think that's on Switch as well.
Says it all, doesn't it, if that's Switch.
Yeah. So, and it's the story of the original game. So
Yes.
It's not the remake.
No, correct. Don't know.
Interesting that. Yeah,
I'm interested in having a look because it's free to play, but obviously the weapon balancing, I imagine it gets really hard without paying.
And single player as well.
Yeah, so no other nonsense going on. Don't know. I'm tempted to have a little bite at this and a nibble, but we'll see. Anyway, so some lovely Final Fantasy VII news there. Square Enix slowly sort of repairing their somewhat tarnished reputation after selling off Crystal Dynamics and others and saying other weird things about blockchain. And I mean, when they do things like this, it's like, okay, there's still people there that exist that have a brain. And can make exciting stuff for actual fans of their video games. So good to see all that. Very much looking forward to Rebirth, and I think I'm due another playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm feeling it's just been bubbling up for some reason for me. I was like, I want to play that again. I don't know why. So that could be a little project set up between now and when Rebirth comes out. Capcom have been busy. They also had an anniversary. In fact, the stream for Dragon's Dogma 10th anniversary was at the same time as the Final Fantasy VII stream. They were both at 11 o'clock our time. So people have been forced to choose for one or the other. And they officially announced with the old classic T-shirt going, opening it, Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming. I mean, there's no timelines. It's literally we're starting this now, from now this second. Being made in RE Engine, one of our favourite engines, and is a sequel to the original, which was released on PS3, Xbox 360, May 2012. And then they've had a Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which has come out and then been ported to PC and PS4 and Xbox One in the last sort of 5 or 6 years, and also on Switch. So that's kind of like a little bit of a Dragon's Dogma history. I mean, we've also got the anime Netflix series, 7 episodes lurking as well, which has been...
Did you look into that?
I didn't know, but it's been universally panned. But I haven't looked into what the story covers as to what to do. Because this is the question. I hear nothing but excellent things about Dragon's Dogma. It feels like it's got a real cult following. And those that took the time to play it back in the day have such excellent things. Like, it's Dark Souls mixed with Monster Hunter, and you just think, cool. But I've seen a lot of gameplay, and it looks like a game that was released in 2012. And my worry is going back to a game where you don't have the original nostalgia of playing it, and you don't have that reference, just coming in fresh and trying to fight your way through, which... Yeah, I'm in two minds of whether to try this, because it's not meant to be easy as well. Dragon's Dogma is meant to be quite difficult. Like, that's where the Souls kind of comparisons are coming from, is that it makes things hard for you and doesn't give you anything. But they have really cool things in there, like, you know, you can damage the monsters and the bosses in certain areas. We've got weak points. You can add pawns to your party, which are basically computer-controlled characters that other people have made. So you could spec out like an archer, and then I could go on there and pick your archer and bring it into my game. Depending on where you've taken your archer, like on the map, he or she will reference that knowledge to the player that they're with. So if they visited a cave that you haven't, they'll say, "Oh, enemies up ahead." So it's quite clever.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
But Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be a few years away. What say you? Any interest for you going back for something this old? Because we've seen Space Marine being going back to.
Well, that is true. Yeah, I do go back to some of the old ones. Is it on PC?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
It's on my Steam library, so you should be able to access it through the family
good. I'll
thing.
have a little ganders, but yeah, I should. I would like to, especially this. Sometimes it does take like a second one and a bit of hype to come out to make me think, oh, I'll go back. A bit like Warhammer.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, yeah. Like, it does sound fun. Something I'll be interested in. So yeah, maybe I will when the time is right.
Yeah, that's always the key, isn't it? Got some Resident Evil updates as well during the week. So Resident Evil Village, that'll be getting a new DLC pack called the Winters Expansion. So it's a bit strange. This is what you're going to get with it. First of all, you better play Resident Evil Village in third-person mode.
This is probably the best of the three.
Now, my question is, they didn't show this clearly in the trailer. Will we be able to spin the camera around and will Ethan's face be blurred? Or will it be...
That's what I wondered.
It looked like you could see... It didn't look like it was being like scraped out, but I wonder. Because they've purposely kept his face obscured in every game
it's
since
weird
7.
that he's actual character, yet he still doesn't have a face. He's very close. Like there was even scenes, wasn't there, in Village where it sort of panned round to
That's
him.
it, yeah.
But no, we still don't have a
clear view.
Put Trump's face on there.
The mods will, they will.
Yeah,
they probably already have. It's probably already out there for people. But so you'd be interested in partaking back in it in a third person?
I've got to say, when I was watching it, I thought out of the three things, I was really hyped for this. I was like, oh wow, and I wonder if they're going to do it for 7 as well. But yeah, I'd like to play through it as thing because I think I even when we spoke about it in a review maybe, and I was saying that I really did like it, this new horror thing, but Resident Evil to me has always been third person, so the best thing for these games would be an option. I'd never thought they would do it, never in a million years. Because I'd be interested to see some of the animations stuff, maybe like vault. I can't remember if you could vault over or could you.
Well, I suppose you could, but you never really thought much of it because it was just an object. Whereas now there's an animation in the trailer of him like hopping, looked like it was over out of a window, maybe, I don't know.
A window, like that, wasn't it? And it will certainly take a lot of the horror away. So it'd be interesting to make it a bit more action, even though Village was quite a bit more action. Yeah. It'd be quite fun to see like comparisons of Ethan versus Lady Dimitrescu, see how big she is.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, certainly I would like to go through it again because they are quite short relatively, weren't they? It wasn't the longest game.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. So that's nice.
Yeah, I've got to say, definitely more excited about this than the other news, which was...
Yeah, so they're going to be adding some characters to Mercenaries. One of them is Lady D, so 9-foot vampire lady. You can see the size of her in the... She's much taller than... I think Heisenberg's there and Chris is going to be there as well. I mean, I've never played Mercenary mode for about an hour. And I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done. And then for me, the thing that I've got my eye on most is this Shadows of Rose DLC that's coming. Now, we're going to go back to the third person thing because this is a third person expansion.
Oh,
so
yes, yeah.
I don't mind being third person at all. But I do like the first person direction they've taken. So
that's.
With this, are they starting to say, right, whatever's next is going to be third person? We're going to bin off this first person. Is this a subtle way of training their fans that this option is going to be all it is going forward because it's easier for us?
I get the feeling they're starting to make this their universe. The Resident Evil, this new... You may even get your ultimate dream, and we get the one remake you so desire.
It's required.
So with this in hand, I'm thinking that they're going to have 2, 3, 4 in third person. You've got 5, 6 already third person.
Yeah.
7 village now potentially, and well, obviously a village definitely is, but yeah, third person. So therefore, they're sort of leaving the first person behind and making this all fluently third. But yeah, it does seem strange that to finish this off with. Is this just one DLC story?
Yeah, and you play as Rose. I read a little bit of the synopsis, and you basically go into the mind of the Metamycete, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So then this is the thing. I typically don't like, for whatever reason, they're always just not very good. Where you go, where it's like a dream or it's not real. Something I'm uneasy about with this.
The only good thing that it could come from it is the level design. Like they can get crazy with it because it's a dream. But that said, the thing that's annoyed me, the thing is like Rose, she wasn't really much of it. She was a baby in the thing, wasn't she? So I won't drop any spoilers here, but at the end of Village, there was a setup for potentially another DLC, which I thought would have been the much better option, and was expecting that to be the DLC.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of a sour taste when this was announced. I was like, oh, that's not the DLC I wanted. But yeah, I won't speak of that because that is a big spoiler. But yeah, shame. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, very odd that they've decided to go, right, no, this is third person.
Yeah.
Off the back of 4 being announced as well. Like, I know that was third, but yeah, I just feel like this. They're sort of trying to get this timeline going and match them all up. So may we see one, or are they just going to claim the remake on GameCube as that's all on?
No, it's bullshit. Because it plays like shit still.
Yeah.
Not still, now it does in comparison. I'm sorry, I'm not having that garbage. Fucking annoys me. They don't want to do it, but they're blowing it as far as I'm concerned. That's not up to snuff.
And they could do that. It could be a big announcement.
Tell you what makes sense, why it doesn't make sense either, is claiming that's the definitive one, because 2 and 3 and 4 are like, they're a reimagining of those originals. Yeah, whereas true, remake is a lot of added content to the original. It added a whole new level. There's like a shark part in it that's added. They added the Crimson Heads and things like that. But beat for beat, it's the same. It's the same, almost. Whereas these difference between 2 and original, 2 remake and 2 original, and 3 remake and 3, it's quite astounding that they've clearly got these characters are different. They act and talk differently, etc., etc. So we're just missing the origins.
Give us the origins, and then we do 5 and 6.
Yeah, do it all.
Leave 6.
I'm going to leave that one. Throw that away. But yeah, October 28th for the Winter's expansion. So be having a look at that. Maybe the calendar is starting to fill up just a little bit. There's a little small bit starting to dabble in now. Need to have a sit down and have a look and plan things out. Resident Evil 2, 3 and 7's current gen updates are now available. These are free to anyone that owns the last gen version, so you can go off and do that now if you haven't done so already. However, PS Plus collection, so if you've got Resident Evil 7 via that, it cannot, as we record this, be upgraded for free. Now, if this sounds like familiar news, it's because it is with Sony. This is exactly what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake when that came to PS Plus. The integrate / upgrade to the current gen wasn't included, and then a few months later they added it.
Was that due to backlash?
It felt like that wasn't, because it was so long after that. Yeah, I think it was just the temp people that was like, well, some of those rats will buy it if we don't give it
right, yeah, and then when they realised they weren't.
So I don't know if this is deliberate or just, I've long come to the conclusion, it's been confirmed by someone who's very clever with databases and data, that it appears that Sony's infrastructure and database management is awful. The setup's got, I mean, I've had trouble with trying to claim PS Plus stuff because I put a disc in of the game and things like that, right, and then I claimed a PS Plus item for Ghost of Tsushima, and then I couldn't buy the expansion Ishi's Island, and I was like, well, what is going on here? So something's not right. It could just be that, and they need to sit down and work it out, or it could be Jim and Capcom saying, well, we'll get a few more pennies out of them. Speaking of the upgrades for 7, 2 and 3, there was huge backlash on the PC side because when that update dropped, all the minimum specs went up.
Cool.
And I think the ray tracing was almost mandatory, etc., etc. So people couldn't play it, and you couldn't opt out of the patch once it was done. Anyway, that's now been reversed. You can get a non-upgraded version of 2, 3, and 7 if your rig's struggling with that. So, as I say, all's well that ends well. And just to finish up for Capcom, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, free demo out. So PC and Switch. Question for you: are you going back to that, or is that dead in doldrums?
Do you know what? What I've been thinking about what to go to. It's a toss-up between going back to Forbidden West or having a little dabble on Monster Hunter, and I don't know. Monster Hunter is tickling the bollards at the minute, so I might go back to that. I do still need to finish off quite a bit, although I don't have a online subscription at the minute, so I'll have to buy that.
Oh, for Switch.
For Switch, yeah. So yeah, I don't know what I'll do if I will go for Sunbreak. Not sure. I wonder if they'll do. Right, Shelley, that's it. We're no longer friends.
Shelley's put Monster Hunter is wank. That's the truth. That's not
right. Tell me and that, mate. Me and Apps last Christmas were absolutely indulged, spending hours and hours. I hope that they do. Can't remember if you could do it with Iceborne. That you could just go balls deep. So I wonder if I could get that on PC and just do that thing. But I don't think they do that, do they?
So from memory, what they had with Iceborne was it gave you that armor, so you could get through the original reasonably quickly, and then get into Iceborne, and it gave you access to the grappling claw they had at the time.
Cool, yeah.
I've not seen anything like I keep saying anything. Like that for Rise and Sunbreak, but that's not to say that they won't do that later on down the line, because that saves a lot of time and hassle, doesn't it? Because you've got quite a lot to do, haven't you, of endgame stuff, basically.
That's the thing.
Get your master rank up.
Chucked fucking endgame cutscenes at the end of it all as well, so I'm like, oh, now I've not completed unless I see that. So yeah, there's potential, so I've been getting hype ready for that, so maybe, but I do want to get that Forbidden West done.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about also you've left out the absolute Game of the Year contender, Exo something.
Oh god, looks as bad as it did.
Did you see? There was a thing on Twitter of people moaning that it wasn't a Dino Crisis remake. There's people thinking it was going to be a Dino Crisis.
I mean, I don't know what people want. They don't want Dino Crisis to be this game. Trust me, you don't want it being dragged through the mud. No. I mean, yeah, it looks as bad as it did before. I don't know what it just. I don't know.
No, it looked like Anthem.
Exo Primal. That's it.
Exo Primal. That's it. Yeah. So it's like what they got like hordes of dinosaurs, but it's basically Anthem.
Yeah.
In like an Overwatch style gameplay.
Yeah.
But against waves of fucking dinosaurs. It looks over the top, Japanese and mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, very odd. That was quite a big segment as well in that Capcom press conference.
Yeah. I don't know what they were playing at. Yeah, I did leave that off because I just
purposely. I'll give it a mention.
I just watched it and I was thinking they'd done a 15-minute gameplay of it, and I was going to watch that, and I got 2 minutes in, and I was like, there's nothing here for me. I have to walk away from it.
Game past it.
Yeah, Todd. I don't even know if Phil will even want that. That means you're really struggling if you don't want to pay some money for it. Todd Howard, IGN interview about Starfield and indirectly some Fallout chat as well.
Yeah,
so here's some headline details. He mentioned that the main story is going to be about 30 to 40 hours long. So that's about 20% bigger than Skyrim and Fallout. I mean, I don't know anyone other than you that mainlines these games, so it's not really a bob.
Did you watch the Matty Plays review about this? And he was literally just saying that. He's just talking about this IGM interview.
Oh, right.
And he's like, I don't know anyone that has ever played Fallout and just mainline. I was just like, me.
This one here, he's done it. Fucking 12 hours in Fallout 3, unbelievable. So that's I don't mind that. because like I said, I don't mainline them, so I never really know how long the main quest is because I was wandering around doing all sorts of other stuff. So that's fine. First person dialogue scenes and no voice. So this is something they tried in Fallout 4. Now, I'll be honest,
Lazed.
I don't know what word that is. What'd you do? Cringed? So that's not done that. Anyway, he weren't happy. I think this is about the best thing they could have done because Fallout 4, I didn't enjoy the voice stuff. It took me because it reduced options for one. I felt
like all conversation wasn't voiced in 4, was it?
Yeah, your main character. You basically choose positive, negative, or neutral, and then they would spill out a line, and it would be third person. The camera would cut and see your character talking. Unlike the old school, where we take the piss out of it when they zoom in, and you're looking at the face.
God, my memory is shot to bits. I couldn't remember that, and I was trying to think. I swear that I remember Skyrim not having one. So they're kicking it back to old school then.
Yeah, back to how it was, and that to me gives you just so much more options as an RPG because you can.
Yeah,
they could put like 6 options in, all saying different things. Whereas when you voice stuff, you mean how much extra work it is? They just think, well, we'll do 3 options and be done with it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, in an RPG sense, it makes sense not to. But I don't know why. I just always liked voice just as a character. But then
Mass Effect's done a good job of it in my eyes. Yeah, that's probably the best version of that because that's all fully voiced. And only occasionally would you choose something and then Shepard says something completely off and you're like, that's not what I mean. He's fucking bollocked him. That's not what I was trying to do. You think, I feel bad now.
Yeah, I used to get that a couple of times. What about the no face? No, what did you say?
The no what?
No. What else was there? No voice.
No voice acting, and it's first person, so it won't cut.
Right,
won't be cutting. But the other no is that there won't be seamless flying from space to planets. It's something we thought was going to be the case based on the trailer not showing it. It's going to be a cutscene. I've seen people say, "Well, look, it doesn't matter, etc." In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. But I refuse. I refuse to allow people to sit there and say it wouldn't be fucking awesome if you could do that. Because I know, again, people get annoyed about No Man's Sky comparison. I think at a core sort of game, they are completely different games in terms of what they're trying to achieve. But you can't deny
that trailer. Very
it
was. There was a lot of No Man's Sky references in there, or just things that you do in No Man's Sky. But it's a space exploration game. They're gonna be
people are gonna draw comparisons, and one of the cool things about No Man's Sky, for all its faults, was just that seamless warping into a galaxy of 7 planets and just getting in your ship, flying down to the fucking planet with no load screen whatsoever. That was really cool. So I would have loved to have seen this in Starfield, but I don't think it's not going to break the game.
No,
it's just a bit like that's a shame because ultimately is a really cool feature. People say, you get bored of it eventually. I'm saying you're going to get bored of that cutscene. Yeah, you're going to get bored of selecting the fucking map to land. It would have been better if it had that, but it's not a deal breaker for me. Shelley asks in the chat, he said, let's talk about the 1,000 planets that are supposedly handcrafted. How much actual content do you reckon is in there? So,
well, he did talk about this, didn't he?
He did. So, from my understanding, again, he talks in riddles, old Todd, sometimes, and it's the same fella that bigged up Fallout 76. So don't always take his word for it. But essentially, the way I understood it was that they've been using some level of procedural generation to do the terrain for Fallout and Skyrim and Elder Scrolls for donkey's years now. So essentially, they'll set the computer up to say, right, build a world within these parameters. We want 30% woodland, 10% snow, and it will make the world and the elevations and whatnot. And then what they do is their team comes in after that and builds on top of the basic terrain and goes, right, here's a dungeon, here's a town, here's a city, here's a forest of a settlement of some sorts. And that's how they kind of do it. Now, that's a far easier task on something like Skyrim or Fallout, where it's one map with maybe half a dozen settlements to deal with. etc., etc. And Shelley said we've got 1,000 planets here. They ain't gonna be all anchor. There's almost certainly there's gonna be some that are just left at the computers. Barren. Yeah, he even said that. He even said he went. We was trying to think about how to make like an ice planet cool, and in some cases we've done that, but in other cases we haven't because we're trying to portray this. The chance that you'll visit somewhere and it'll be like, oh, this is a shithole. And yeah, that's. I think you'll be able to tell where they've put the effort in. But let's not pretend that there's a good chance that there's a large portion of these planets that might seem barren wastelands. And it's up to you as a player to say, do you want to spend time on there or do you want to... I'm guessing or hoping the scanning tool before you go down kind of tips you off.
Yeah, I think I did see that in one of the things.
It would show if there's structures and things like that. It looked like anyway from the trailer. So there's tools there to help the player. You don't have to go and visit every planet. Maybe you have to go to a planet to get a resource and come back as part of like a wider quest. But yeah, it's one of those things that they're never going to be able to put anything unique on each of those 1,000 planets. And hopefully the game does a good direction of, for those that want it, steering you to the interesting places rather than saying off you go, sort of jobby. It's up to you. You scan the planet. If it says there's 2 minerals on there and nothing else, if you think, well, I'm going to have a look anyway, and it's a shithole, you're going to get yourself to blame.
Yep.
Fallout 5. So, old Todd says that Fallout 5 is, in fact, behind Elder Scrolls 6 in development. So really, we're not seeing this game till 2030. Is that too long between Fallout games?
That is.
Should they hand this off? Should Microsoft come along and say, actually, let's make a new team that handles Fallout? And Todd goes, no, it's my franchise. And they go, well, ain't yours. You bought it off someone else. You didn't make this, you little liars. And then he's like, well. Or do they just say, look, we're just
your last game.
Yeah, exactly.
You're only as good as your last bit of work.
You're only as good as your last Fallout game and you shit the bed. But
Give it Obsidian. Give it Obsidian. They apparently made the best one.
Yeah, well, that's what caused the big fallout, didn't it? Because Bethesda contracted them, and then I think it was like 1 Metascore critic point off the bonus phase, and Bethesda went, nah. You ain't make the target by 1. Sorry, left him absolutely fuming.
Yeah. I think that would be a good thing to outsource it, but Todd, I don't know. Todd don't seem like the type of bloke that he likes to make cunts wait, doesn't he?
I think for Fallout 5, that's definitely not coming out of Todd's. But they could do Fallout. I don't know.
London,
Virginia, London. Yeah, like a spin-off, and perhaps give it like that. Salmon says in the chat, if the next Fallout game isn't the worst, I'll eat my hat.
Be an absolute stinker. But yeah, it's crazy to think that it was almost like an announcement, like all the fucking gaming pages were on it going, God, he's just announced it. I mean, we knew it was coming eventually, but yeah, in the pipe work.
What's your thoughts on Starfield? Is there any of this new information or sort of trailer breakdowns that you might have watched changed where you're at with it? I think I'm a little bit more optimistic. I sat there and spent some time thinking about how cool the cool parts of Skyrim and how the cool parts of Fallout actually are. And I was like, well, this is. I forget that they are Bethesda games. They do have their own DNA, and there's not really much like them out there. And once you get sucked in, I was just thinking, I could go on to like set on a planet and just set up a resource outpost and put NPCs there. That'll be enough for me.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff. There's been little tidbits here and there that I've seen, like you said, I think you messaged me saying that you can like hijack other people's ships and stuff. I was like, cool, that'd be quite fun.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, there was a bit of a down when I heard about the no seamless transitions. I was like, oh, that's a shame. That's put a downer. But still, my hype's still quite high after that. I've watched that thing back in 4K and was like, this is looking good. But be interested. Like I say, I prefer voicing. But now when I come to think of it, remembering that it is a real RPG and trying to immerse yourself in that world, it would be more of an open option to not
Yeah,
Less is more sometimes, isn't it?
yeah. Definitely got eyes on it. It's probably Xbox's biggest game of the generation now. Like, there's so much hype behind it. So Todd's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, and it's all piling on.
So you're going to become the new Sean Murray.
Well, you don't want that. Not to start with. You don't want to get.
No.
They've already had their No Man's Sky moment with Fallout 76. They've already been
That's
fucking
true.
dragged through the mud. So
Yeah.
don't want to be doing that again. Anyway, quick couple of bits here. Kojima Productions has said it will continue to work with PlayStation following the announcement that the team is making a game for Microsoft. Quote,
Jim made him do that.
yeah, Jim said, get out there. Well, it's a strange, I just think it's such an odd, I don't know, it's a bit odd to me that they even said
Gotta
anything.
be the fucking blue buds again.
Yeah, they probably saw the noise and thought,
yeah, I better address that before we get backlash.
yeah. But
before he gets death threats.
There you go. So Death Stranding 2 might still be a thing for those that hated that game. They can hate the second one as well, and I'll love it if it comes. And then we also found out that there's going to be. We knew about this, but a Gran Turismo movie will be released next year. It's got a release date of August.
I don't know nothing about this.
August the 11th, 2023.
Gran Turismo.
Neil Blomkamp.
Oh
from
God,
District 9.
Decent director. He was going to do an Aliens film.
Yeah, got fucking crapped off, didn't it? Here's the brief plot description from
God,
Sony's
do you remember
brief.
they did a new Need for Speed one, didn't they, with Aaron Paul?
Yeah.
Oh God. Go on.
Oh fuck. Here we go. So quote, based on a true story, the film is the ultimate wish fulfillment of a teenage Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won a series of Nissan competitions to become an actual professional race car driver. End quote.
Cool.
How much money do the Sony movie areas have to throw away? What are they doing with this? What are they doing?
Good my. I wonder what. I'd be interested to look at the stats of the Uncharted thing.
What's the point? What's Blomkamp doing? Getting involved with this?
Mind you, I've just had. Have you been seeing the pictures of the new Barbie film? It's going to be a new. It's an Academy Award-winning director that's doing it. Got fucking what's his name in it?
Orange Cassidy,
and fucking Margot Robbie as Barbie. It's going to be an absolute Academy Award-winning masterpiece.
Fucking crazy.
But yeah, what this is. Yeah, he's got a con. How much? Yeah, I'm in. I am in. Deary me.
I don't know.
I did not know that. That is live reaction news. I've not heard anything about that. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. People wonder why these game movies don't work.
That'll be why. That's not going to move the needle as far as I'm concerned. We'll see. Maybe we'll be surprised. You never know. You never know. I did wonder when I heard about it. I was like, how are they going to do a Gran Turismo film? And it's like, they're doing.
To be fair, of all the storyline, that's probably a better plausible one than just setting up, just a box standard Fast and the Furious rip off and calling it Gran Turismo.
Yeah, and that's like they said, it is a true story. There's been a number of people that have done GT Academy and gone on to race in like professional series, not like F1 or anything. But
no,
like,
but
still professional racing outfits. It's like pretty crazy.
League, I can't remember, like non-league or low, maybe even lower than that. That they hired their manager based on his Football Manager stats.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Get that movie filmed. Get Logan to play the lead.
I'm sure they used to. Yeah, you'll see how poor he really is there. He keeps restarting his games. You can't do that in the real world.
Oh no!
But I remember I'm sure there was a documentary like Gran Turismo Academy that featured this competition. I'm almost certain it was on like BBC Three one night, and I was like, "What the hell?" Never watched it, so I might go back and find it.
Sifting it through.
Anyway, it's enough of the week's nonsense. We got some impressions to share about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
God, this room is full of toys and not a single turtle's in it.
No. Well.
Oh, hang on. That's bollocks.
Here we go. He's going to find.
Hang on. I have got one.
He's going to get us a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toy of some sort. So I'll try and describe it for the audio. Paupers? Not paupers, really. That's actually your preference, isn't it?
It's your boy.
Mikey, Oh, that is cool. That is because they are as ugly as a pop funk. So what Adkins has got there is a Michelangelo pop Funko.
And you know what? That was completely free. I found it in the street.
What do you mean you found it in the in its,
Honestly,
in its
I'm not even
box?
joking. In its box. Someone had dropped it out of the bag. I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere in Wakeford, and it was just sat on the sign. I was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like looking about, and there was no one about. And I was like, well, "I'm having that." Literally, some kid had gone and bought it and dropped it.
Poor little sod lost his
Of course, on
Michelangelo.
nothing, and here he is, Michelangelo, as we live and breathe. So, if any fans of the series went out and bought this little tiger and then lost it, you ain't having it back.
No, Atkins has got it now. You won't be getting that back. How
I
funny!
lied.
But yeah, so we played through Shredder's Revenge. Myself, you, and old Pac-Man Adcock done a little bit of free-player co-op. Ran through the campaign last night, and I played through a solo run this afternoon on my own. Or this evening, early this evening, and we're here to share some thoughts on that. So let's get the good out of the way.
Cards. Cards on the table.
Cards on the table. True.
Have you ever played any of the others? Oh, the
Not
originals.
for about 20 years.
Exactly the same. I'm thinking I don't even remember owning. I may have even just went round someone's house.
Yeah, no, I never did. Yeah, I'm sure Johnson had it on Super Nintendo or something on Super Nintendo. We'd play that and get, like, if we were lucky, past the first level and then be happy with that.
Yep.
But yeah, that was it really. Loved the TV show when I was younger. But then I actually retained almost zero knowledge of, other than the theme tune, like
Not
what happens or the characters or the episodes. It's really fuzzy.
No.
And I haven't seen the live action efforts they did.
Cool.
I know they've rebooted some of the animated stuff as well a few times.
Yeah.
It's been like modernised version. But where are you on the outside of the games for
so
TMNT?
TMNT. So yeah, I used to love the cartoon as a kid. Can't remember it because I can't even remember what I did yesterday. Drugs.
Yeah.
But no, outside of that, it's been a big gap from a kid to adult.
Yeah, it didn't really. It's one of those things that I
never really
loved
carried it on,
and then just forgot about. Like,
same with Transformers. I sort of loved it as a kid, forgot about it. Then sort of 10, 15 years ago, I got back into it, was buying all the toys and playing the games and that, and then the films come out.
That's it.
Ninja Turtles was like, the films is probably the most thing. They did a good comic series a couple of years ago, which I was talking about in our stream. They did some cool sort of grounded stories rather than a bit adult orientated rather than a thing. But yeah, it's always been one of those things sort of like, it's not really the sort of thing you'd tell your mate, tell the world that you're still a big fan of Ninja Turtles. No. It's like a kid's thing, but they've always sort of been there and you was like, oh, that's cool. I remember loving them as a kid and they're still nicking about. But haven't played any of the games that have come at all. Just watching the films, and the films are take it or leave it, popcorn flicks.
Yeah.
But but for some reason, this popped and I was DTP down to play. Yeah,
I mean, for us, it arrives on Game Pass Ultimate, so PC Game Pass or Xbox Game Pass. So that was it felt like a no-brainer. As I mentioned earlier in the show, for Biff's Fantasy Gaming League team, some really high scores. Like I said, an 87, that is bloody high. So coming with some good pedigree, and we gave it a go last night. I played it on PC, and then you guys are streaming both.
Yeah, give that to it's both on Xbox. Yeah, I think we'd have had the trifecta. He would have been on a Series S.
He was on a Series S, yeah.
I was on a Series X, and he was on the PC, so we had the real trifecta. And to its credit, I thought that held up pretty well.
Yeah,
taking away your party overlay.
Yeah, I managed to get rid of that eventually. That was more the Xbox bloody app on Windows playing up, but it ran pretty well. We didn't have any disconnections. Adcock got froze once into he couldn't see himself in the level. Me and you were like, what are you doing? He just stands there. He's like, it ain't loaded in. So we had that happen once. But other than that, we had nobody got kicked out of the party. There was a little bit of like slow down.
Stutter.
Which
I kept getting stutters when a
yes,
achievement popped.
Yes.
It was like jerk, and
it
then
would
that came in.
froze the old game up. So that was definitely.
Yeah.
And then I was also streaming it as well. So
Right.
I had people in the chat to entertain as well as trying to play. So that sometimes it doesn't drastically change perspectives, but it's an important note nonetheless. But on the positive side of things, like it's really faithful to at least my memories of Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles over here, because they weren't allowed to be called ninjas, were they, for a while?
Oh,
You ever heard the intro music to that? They literally just dub in the word hero.
oh really? No,
It's all the same, and it goes Hero Turtle.
I have to dig that
Yeah,
out.
it's really, really strange.
That's weird, isn't it?
But no, I felt like this was
Of all the people as well, the Yanks, they probably would have definitely turned into ninjas. They should be the ones.
Yeah, I know.
They have guns.
Yeah, they weren't having it for the UK back then. But no, this felt, at least to me, it felt very faithful. Like the opening intro is really cool because it's the tune ish and the words to like the 87 cartoon that I remember, and they've jazzed it up a bit, so it's not exactly beat for beat the same, but it's, you'll recognise it as soon as it kicks in. He does the damn. I don't know if that's something they carry through on the modern stuff, but I was like, oh, wave of nostalgia
Here
here.
we go.
Pumped it on. I was like, yeah, this looks like it's going for that kind of art style, that pixelated look. And I was like, that's fine.
Seeing that blimp just gave me a big fat shot of nostalgia.
Yeah, that was. It was
What it was called now, the turtle blimp.
The turtle blimp. I felt like the controls were really responsive.
Very good. Although I would definitely suggest anyone who thinks of playing it to watch that tutorial.
There's a lot of moves that you can do, which are good. But it kind of just flashes them up in I thought
I was playing it at first.
Gives
you it will show you the character, and then it will say XXX, and you press it, but it's not doing anything. It's just showing you like a mini GIF essentially.
It basically shows what the input is and then does it on the screen for you. Like they could have done with like a little area where you just go through that on hands on, and you can get a feel of
quite long. It's about 23 or something. 23,
it was a couple of minutes. You sort of sitting there watching, and I was like, I'm not taking this in. That's why I prefer a hands-on kind of tutorial to do it. Optional, of course, that should be, but that wasn't there. So just be aware of that. You're kind of learning on the job with the inputs, but the controls generally were pretty good. Now there was 3 of us in there last night, and you could have up to 6, and I just with us 3, it was absolute carnage. It was I couldn't tell what was going on.
We'd
half
just
the time.
laugh.
Yeah,
like, there'll be no conversation. We'd just all start chuckling, and it's typically when you'd get 4 enemies come from either side, and we'd all use our super moves, and it would just be this cacophony of fucking little
mess. I had screen shake on, so it was just going constantly. Yeah, it was just utter carnage. I didn't feel like I was even playing it properly at times. I was just button mashing and doing just crapping around, doing whatever I could.
You'd often come out of one of those things, and you're just button mashing, so we're just pressing it, and then when you look up at the screen, you'd see your character to the right facing a wall hitting something, and you're like, oh no, hang on.
It was hard to keep track of what was going on.
It is, and purposely I'd go, there he is. Oh no, that's not me, that's Michelangelo. Hang on a minute, which one am I? Oh, I'm that one.
Should have chose Splinter. You did a different model altogether.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit messy when it comes to that, and then the other thing that really just, and look, we could have made this hard. We put it on the medium difficulty, which was called okay. I think it's chill, okay, and then gnarly. We put it on the middle one, and
just in case.
Now, the way the game works is that you've got all these combat inputs. So hitting, I think it's X on the Xbox controller to punch and stuff, and you can jump with A, and then I think B does like a little flip or backflip, dodge roll that you can do, and you can then combo that if you do an attack before or after. You can do double jumping and attacks in the air. It's got all that good stuff in there, but it's got this other thing where you essentially press RB and your character taunts. So for a few seconds, your character will taunt, and you're open to attack at that time. But what it will do is it will fill your special meter up immediately, fully. And when your special meter is full, you can hit Y and release a special attack, or you can combine that with an aerial attack or a dodge roll attack. So you start to unlock more different ways that you can use it. And those special moves are just absolutely devastating. Any rank and file enemies are killed in one hit, basically, and the bosses, it takes a good chunk off their health. So you can build up your special meter by fighting and hitting enemies, which is the perfectly reasonable way to do it. But essentially, every time we cleared a screen, we'd all just stand there, taunt, and you could, as the game went on, you could build up and stack them. So you could have 3 of them built up with taunt. So it take 15 seconds. We're all just going doing our little individual poses
on the floor.
Yeah, looked like Adcock was he Donatello? Was he?
Yeah,
it looked like he's playing a Game Boy. He's clearly playing a Game Boy, crouching down. But it looks like he's taking a shit as well. So he was doing that. And we were just every time we'd clear a screen, we'd just stand there hitting the RB and then taking our specials. And then when the enemies come on the screen with the next one, it all just hit Y, and it just cleared out.
Rinse and repeat. It really was,
wasn't it?
It very much was. It was. It took a lot of the challenge out. Yes. But to be fair, because again, this is why I do insist people watch that tutorial. I think we got to about level 3 or 4 before you told us both that this cheer increases it. So we didn't know nothing about it.
Yeah. You guys didn't know that till for a little while. I also found out when I played it solo earlier that you could do a high five. You can press LB and high five your teammate. Yeah. That heals the person you're high-fiving, but takes a little bit off your health. So
does it?
So if you were full and I was nearly empty, you could come up to me and sort of buff mine up and take a little bit off yours. Again, we didn't use that. I didn't need to.
At all. No.
So...
Of course, there was like one where we just kept doing it for ages.
Yeah. And it was... someone was getting rinsed there of their health, but... Yeah. So then there's I think there's 16 stages. They're called episodes. And each of them have a boss at the end, or maybe 2. Sometimes a mid-boss, for example. And really, those bosses I felt were pretty disappointing for the most part. Like, there was probably 2 or 3 where we actually had to try and figure out the pattern and be like, we've got to be on our game here. Yeah. And I don't think it was necessarily even a difficulty thing. It was just that the other bosses just seemed to just charge at you and miss, then you'd hit them.
That was it.
Or they would, throw a bomb. Or it was very... lackluster, I thought, other than a couple. Yeah.
A lot of repetition in all of them. Just in terms of their design, like not looks or anything, but just the way they manoeuvred them done. The odd one, there was like a couple, I think I'll make a couple of comments throughout the stream of saying like, Cuphead. And they tried to sort of implement a bit of, not platforming, but like they would do a move that would then bring down projectiles or something. Yeah. So you have got to move and shoot at the same time. But that was pretty much the only difference between, to say there was 17, 18 bosses. You're probably looking at about 4 or 5 maybe ones that had a bit of difference to them, and the rest were just cut, copy, and paste, really. Yeah,
and then you got to the stage where there was the 2 bosses that you'd fought, and then they would be together. So they did the same patterns, but there's 2 of them now, and I was a bit like, fuck me, what's this Elden Ring? We're going down that road again.
And then dungeons again.
Yeah, exactly. God. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Story-wise, there's not a lot here. I'll tell you what, even when I played it on my own, I was like, I'll listen to what's being said. The balancing for the voice, I couldn't fucking hear nothing. I could barely hear what they were saying.
Interesting.
So that wasn't very...
discrepancy in the achievements, which I'm not happy about. We played together, and Apps has unlocked the achievement for collecting all story collectibles. I didn't get it, so... something's going on here, then I'm not happy about it.
I don't know what that is all about. So when you go through the story, you unlock little favors that you can do for people, which are basically collecting things. Like one fella wants you to collect his newspapers, someone wants you to collect their diary, and basically you find those items by hitting boxes or areas in the game. There's also cameos from people, I guess, that have come through the cartoon or the series, and you can, again, sometimes they're hidden behind a door, so if you hit the door, you smash it a few times, they'll come out. There's an achievement for that. And then once you collect, 3 of the diaries, for example, it's like an overworld map where you choose the missions. It's not open world or anything, it's got numbers.
Super Mario, isn't it?
It's very much like Super Mario World. It's a lot smaller, but it's that same thing where you can choose to go back to older levels or you can go and visit these people that have given you these challenges, and you can hand in. You're supposed to hand in the challenges, which we didn't do last night, and they give you don't give you anything good. They give you like 100 points. So it's not like they give you items or anything. So it's a little bit. So I've done a few of those. And and then there's there's requirements for like completing the game with every character. It seems that you unlock Casey Jones with one full playthrough. So you've got 7 in total: the 4 turtles, April, Splinter, and Casey. And there's just
how do we get him?
Yeah, and we got like a one screenshot, basically different ending for each of us, which is basically your turtles. It's literally like a bit of text that says so and so's doing this now,
like a fucking Tekken ending.
Yeah, it is what it is. And then that's it, really. There's an arcade mode, which is the game.
Yeah, have you not dabbled in that?
No, I didn't. I read about it. Basically, it's the same game. They cut most of the story stuff out, but you have a limited number of continues and lives, and you can't stop halfway through. So you have to finish it in that one run or submit and give up. So and you can get to the stage where you run out of lives and have to go back to the beginning. So it's the same levels though, just a bit more. They cut a bit of the filler out, and there's not much filler there. So that took us about 2 and a bit hours.
Yeah, 2 and a bit. Yeah, I think we're just shy of the 2.5 mark. 2:20, I think mine clocked in it. So we had a piss halfway through. So just over the 2 hours. Once we really utilised that special, you didn't manage to clock your solo run today, did you?
No, it was about 2 hours again. It wasn't
about 2 hours again.
Yeah, it wasn't much longer or any shorter really.
It was like Street Fighter 4 was longer or shorter. Streets of Rage, sorry.
Probably about the same odds. Yes, I don't think there's a lot of difference in it.
To be fair, I thought it was a decent amount. I think any longer, if you stick another hour on that, it would start to get tiresome. Certainly with the repetition. What say you? Would you like it longer or?
No, I think it begins to outstay its welcome a little. Even on that how short it was, I felt like it was starting to be. I was a bit like another one of these. Okay, going through the motions massively.
As we haven't discussed, the difficulty was fairly good. Like we was doing a bit and getting up it until we got to missions on rails.
Yeah,
that was
we have like little skateboards or hovercrafts where the
seem to really
auto scrolls. Adcock struggled badly with those.
Yeah.
I just checked our stream. It's 2 hours 10 minutes for the stream, so it would have been about 2 hours on the dot. Close to that. So that's what you can kind of expect. And then after you've done it once, it's like, oh, do you want to go for it again with some friends, or do you want to just unlock the endings, or do you want to go back and get the collectibles? There's challenges for each level, so like don't take any damage, or knock 6 enemies into a trap, use your special 5 times. There's all these different like multiplier things that you can go back and redo, but I don't have any interest in carrying those tasks out. So I mean, it was. I'm a bit in two minds over it, really. And
I think the difficult thing is, it's a bit like we saw the score early doors, and I was like, right, I had one eye on this, sort of like when it was announced and waiting for the trailer to drop recently. Was it on like State of Play or Games Fest? It was one of them ones, wasn't it?
On it was on the Summer Game Fest, and that's where they announced it was coming to Game Pass day one.
Pass, so
I thought I thought it was already coming to Game Pass. This is the trouble with Game Pass. I just assume all the indie looking stuff is all coming anyway. So when it said that, I was like, oh yeah, I knew that. And I looked and I was like, oh no, I didn't know that. I didn't.
That's unbelievable. But so the first thing I saw that score, and then obviously when it's that high, you go in with those really high expectations, and it was serviceable. I it was a good little fun for 2 hours. But I didn't leave thinking like, cool, no, that was a 9 out of 10 experience. It was fine, but it wasn't. Like I think we mentioned before, it didn't do anything I didn't expect it to. Really, it done what it was set out to do. It didn't sort of push the bar in the beat 'em up stage. It wasn't. It was. I suppose it was keeping its nostalgia, so it was always set, but. sometimes these games they try and push the boat out and strive. This one didn't really go the extra mile. It just done what it was intended to do, really.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Well, look, we're outside the gaming gallery doors, and there's a bit of a crowd gathering because they like, is there going to be a new entry going in? So I've got the keys in my hands right now.
Yeah.
I've got my view, but I need to know whether you want us to unlock the gaming gallery and we're going to take it to the Adkins wing of gaming and put it up somewhere. So do I need to get these keys out, or just put them back in the pocket and we're going for a pub drink after?
Pub lunch.
Little romantic pub lunch.
Pop it in the gallery.
Cool, all right. That's the gallery being opened. I was going to put it in anyway, so I was going to open it. So if you asked offered for the pint, I'd have been like, well, wait a minute, I've got to just pop this in there.
I just can't pop this in. It deserves a space in the gallery.
Cool. So let's make our way to your gallery. We've got a few games up there already lurking. How are you gonna display this? We've got the platinum, we've got the gold, we've got the silver, the bronze. General kind of guidances. Platinum, a special game. Gold, a great game. Silver, a good game. Bronze, a decent game. So you can chuck it where you want.
Gonna go for silver.
It's a good game in Adkins' eyes.
Good game.
Broadly.
It's a good game.
It's a good
Good
game.
serviceable Xbox Game Pass fodder.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a dismiss, but
It's dissed it.
it's dissed it. But to be fair, like it was enjoyable. It was good. It was fine. I don't know if I would have been happy if I'd have spent £20 on it.
Yeah.
But
It wasn't a bad way to spend a Thursday night
yeah, exactly.
for a couple of hours. But it literally was a couple of hours. Let's be clear. Like if you're one of those people that don't enjoy going back and back and back and back and back and trying to get everything, you'll run the clock and then you'll be like, okay, all right, I'm done. So yeah, it's going in my wing as well. And the gallery door's already open. I'm gonna actually chuck it on the bronze side of the room. So yeah, I mean it's decent. I think the best thing about it is just how well it sort of hit the TMNT notes, which are well buried memories by this point. It managed to unravel some of those, and it was cool to see that the commitment and the faithful kind of look that they gave it. As a game itself, it was okay. It was serviceable. It wasn't really much special. It was good fun. I would like to play with 6 players one day just to see how that operates. But
can you do randoms?
I think you can.
Okay,
Maybe we'll do that. Just one.
And it's quite good because you can't get one that's just going to fuck it up for everyone.
No,
There's
exactly.
A couple of times where two of us would rush ahead and it just blocked it. So that's quite handy because you could get some real bastard to really set you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no.
So I'm going to try this. I've got a voice note from Adcock because trying to get him on it, and I'm done. This might not come out very well, so we'll experiment here. Now we've hit the charts, we can start experimenting with new tech. So let me just.
My statement here.
Right, so he's got his statement ready here, and I'll see if this comes through the fucking mic. Let's have a look.
My statement is it's 2 hours of good nostalgic fun, especially if you play with some mates. Doesn't really do anything that I haven't seen in Turtles games from 30 odd years ago, so would have been nice to see that. It's a short run time and full price £30 seems high, but it's a Game Pass home run really, like absolute no-brainer. Stick it on the old personal wing, whatever that means. I'm going to say it's a well-polished silver. Enjoyed it, but glad I didn't pay for it. Recommend.
Oh, there you go. Not his most charismatic there.
We'll have to go quick.
Yeah. So we're going to. It's time for the end of the podcast there. So Adkins is going to depart. I will close this down on my own for the evening. Thanks for joining us. If you got it this far, we appreciate having you. Adcock has confirmed that TMNT's going in as a silver in his personal wing. I've tucked it in the bronze, and Adkins has put it in the silver as well. So that's kind of all you need to know there. Anyway, nothing more for us to say here, though, other than thanks for your time and ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.